Okay. Alright. I'm just setting up a set for the take one, scene one, first trial run between a intro of ourselves and a small kind of understanding or breakdown or deconstructing what feels like, what, like, feeling low can mean, feel like. And so anyway, we'll get more into it here in a moment and finish setting up. Excited? It's be your first time. Got a cool little spot here. This is cute. Bang. Check that.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, I like that.
Anyway, this is my sister made this. Okay. All right, we're gonna cut the music, or maybe we'll get some trivia or music for shows. All right, let's check the camera. Kind of got an obscure location. Oh, that's looking good. Okay, Jess, I think we're ready. Okay, Google, will you pause the music? Let's get my notes here. Oh, this is great. I'm excited. This is cool. See? I've always wanted to do this.
Well, it's cool. It's nice.
Right? Relaxing, chill, mellow.
It is. It's relaxing. It's chill.
See, we could start here. We have a pretty heavy topic here. Discussion. I don't know if you want to go this route or maybe change topics if you're feeling so good now.
No.
Okay,
No.
great. Okay,
I'm
perfect.
just rolling with it.
Okay, great.
Shall we turn that little light over there on it?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Little-
It's great. Okay, so hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am Michael Bredfield, a.k.a. Micky Bi. I'm here today with Jessica Kissell,
Hi.
otherwise known as JKiss,
TruthSica.
or TruthSica. Apologies.
Either one.
She's well known in the community, outstanding member. There's lots of love and light. You talk to anybody, they're just going to talk for days about how much they love Jessica, how she goes above and beyond for people, how she's quite literally like what everyone strives to be, and how she's an angel. She's from an an unearth-like place, and when she walks, she leaves dust, fairy dust. It's pretty amazing. She has quite the reputation. So I'm excited to be here with Jessica today, especially with such a heavy topic. Moving right along, our topic on that note is kind of trekking through the difficult times that we're living in and that we're having in life. I mean, I think, that goes for, into a lot of different things. And so we kind of wanted to bounce a couple ideas, get to know JKiss, Jessica TruthSica here, Jessica Kissell, and ask a couple questions and kind of dive deep into what it means to be not feeling good. What are some things we can kind of do to help ourselves feel better, how we can push through, how we can prepare ourselves better for the future, and some things that we could do to really help ourselves in the now. And so I'm excited and and honored to go over this with Jessica, such a renowned reputation in the city and with such good people, and I know she's got some good stuff on it, and she's so I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jessica with a question of Jessica, how are you feeling right now? Or is there anything you'd like to say before I get to the questions?
Not necessarily, except thank you for that wonderful introduction, Michael Bredfield, Micky Bi.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
Yes, and thank you for having me.
Yes, my pleasure indeed.
Okay.
Is the lighting off in here? Do you want more lighting? Are you feeling like there's not enough lighting?
It's a little dark, but I don't want it to be too bright. I'm feeling okay.
Let me check the lighting situation here in a second. Oh, how are we feeling there? Is that too much?
It feels okay.
Feels okay. Feels like we're in the limelight now. Okay. Sure. We'll go with this. Just keep it kind of bright. It was kind of dull there, and so to go again, Micky Bi, JKiss here, just chatting about a pretty heavy topic, which seems to be trekking through troubled times, which we're all feeling right now. The hardships, and especially with the weather coming in and raining down, this liquid sunshine, it can get a little, sad at times, depressed if you don't have some good soup and some good company. And so we're going to chat kind of again about what that looks like, what that feels like, and some things we can do to help ourselves feeling those ways and prepare ourselves, and then pushing through that and overcoming that, and being excited, looking at more, looking at the bigger picture, one step at a time. So I'm going to hand it over to Jessica Kissell. She was telling us how she's feeling today. How are you feeling today, Jessica? How are you feeling? I'm sure the light helped a little bit.
Yes, the light did help a little bit. It is an interesting shade of light, though. For sure.
It is an interesting one.
It's like a very orangey yellow.
Yeah.
Instead of like a clear white, like.
Yeah.
I am feeling mixed emotions. I guess I could somewhat start off explaining with your reference to the weather. I see that it is raining and that it's drizzly and it's not as like bright and sunshiny I'm thankful for the rain because I feel like we've definitely needed it. And it's replenished and it's like refreshing. And I've been waiting for the rain, to be honest. I think, and this will kind of bring me to my point, but like I've been excited for the rain all summer while trying to enjoy the summer, because I knew that even though the summer was lovely, it just seemed a little more intense, a little bit drier. We've had a lot of fires lately. And I wasn't even really able to take advantage of the summer the way that I would have liked, because I'm dealing with so much in my personal time. So it being rainy, I'm so grateful for it because I've been waiting for it. But I also realized that with each thing, and this is also like a analogy or a metaphor, but like as I was so excited for the rain, because I was not completely happy with this, I was over the sunshine, I was ready for rain. As the rain comes, there's this simultaneous feeling of gratitude, as well as realizing what the rain itself brings also. So I think that I'm just coming to realize that there seems to be this constant experience that I'm having where I'm happy with where I'm at, but I'm constantly looking for the next thing that will make it better. And then once I make it to the next step that I am trying to get to all the time, the thing that I'm waiting for, in this sense, the rain, I realize, oh, well, now that I'm here at this place that I've been waiting for, and I'm thankful for this rain, I'm realizing the sun won't be coming out as often anymore. There's just this very short moment where it's like between summer and between fall, like it's just coming into fall and the sun is still out there and everything's crisp, and you get that beautiful moment where it's both all at one time. You have the sun, but it's cooling down. The air is fresh because there's been like one rain, but it's still warm. And that's such a beautiful moment, and I think I revel in that, but it's so brief. And now that we're into this rainy moment, I realize it is going to get darker. I'm not going to have as much daylight or time during my day. I'm just realizing that no matter what in life, there is going to be something beautiful and great that you've been wanting, but with that comes, there will always be another challenge right around the corner. And as I've come into this age of being 30, I think that it's just become, I didn't realize being 30 or turning 30 would be such a drastic change. I have always been so positive and so light, and as I become an adult, especially in such, I feel, a turbulent time for everyone, it's hard to feel that childlike nature where you can just be in the moment because you don't have any responsibilities or things that you have to worry about or a future that you have to prepare for, or like, yeah, just having to take care of yourself can be more challenging than I ever thought. To be an adult, to be a human being who is doing well for themselves while contributing to society has become more and more challenging. So yeah, I guess right now I'm just feeling a little bit confused as well as overwhelmed, but still grateful for who I am, what I have, what I've experienced. So yeah, grateful for the rain, missing the sun, happy to be where I'm at. Yeah, I don't know, a little confused and a little overwhelmed and not quite sure. It's weird. It's like I know exactly what I need to do and what I want to do, but the emotions that go along with life and just the everyday things we need to do make it harder for me to just be happy. So yeah, I would love to just, be at a place where I'd love to just have a longer moment in that brief period of time where everything feels okay and there's not so much to worry about. I guess I just miss that feeling, because these days it gets more and more rare that that feeling is there and exists. Because as we get older, we drift from our friends and we become more like families and more separated. I'm feeling lost, even though I know exactly where I am and what I want to do, which is weird. Things just start to get a little bit more real. Like, I've always kind of lived in the clouds, really. I think it's catching up with me a little bit. I definitely was always about the experience rather than the academic gains. I think I've definitely put, like, learning proficient skills kind of to the side in order to just be free and do whatever I wanted. And now that, I'm at a point where it all really matters. I think I'm getting to a point where in my life where everything that I was supposed to accumulate in my young adult years is supposed to be coming to fruition to help me with whatever goal that I'm at right now. And I'm realizing that all of the skills that I put to fruition or that I built in my young adult years don't align with what goal I have now. And so I'm having to, I'm at a place of where I have to scratch it all, not all of it, but basically realize that I'm taking a completely different turn in my life. I'm starting from the bottom again. And I think that's really hard for me to admit, because I did work really hard to get to where I was with bartending. I know it doesn't sound like it's that hard, but I took a lot of time to get, like, working from the bottom up in that industry to get to the position that created the most money, because bartending is, it can make you a good amount of money. I've known people, and I was told people that went to college, even after going to college, when they go into their career, end up going back to bartending because they make more money bartending than they do in their own career. So I thought that bartending was my way out, my way to travel, because you can travel anywhere you want in the world, and there's always bartending jobs. And you can do it at any level, whether you want to pour shots and beers for people who don't really care about what they're, who are just there. Or you want to work at like a tropical place and make fruity smoothie type drinks. There's a lot of variety there, and it allowed a lot of opportunity, and I'm thankful for those opportunities. I was able to go to and see a lot of different places and meet a lot of different people and have a lot of fun. But now that I want to really sustain a life that doesn't take so much out of me energetically and supports me in a more healthy way, I'm realizing that's not the course, and that's not. So now I'm having to find out that I don't have as many skills in other areas, at least not as strong as I would like, or others that are hiring would like. And really, I don't even like any of the other jobs. And so it's like, I don't really want to do anything for anyone. Like, none of it sounds appealing to me. to go and work at a bagel place, or work at a barista place, or work in a factory producing things to ship to people. The only thing that really seemed like something I wanted to do was two things. I'm realizing that no matter what it is, it's going to have its ups and downs, and that's, you really just have to choose what it is that you're willing to deal with the hard parts for. Because everything is going to have stuff that you don't want to do. Even with bartending and being a barista, there were aspects that I didn't enjoy. If you want to become a teacher, there are going to be aspects that you don't always enjoy. And I guess that's where it comes into the mind frame. Like, why don't you enjoy it? Because it's, like, what makes it not the fun part? I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling now, though. So.
Well, that's a good question, and I think that kind of takes it to an interesting topic. What takes it to a fun part? Is, you know.
What makes the hard things fun?
Yeah.
Being good at them. But how do you get good at the things that are hard? By doing them and getting over the part that is not fun. And then it becomes fun as you get better. Bartending wasn't always fun either. It took me time and moments where I was like pressured with myself. I was stressed out. I didn't know if I could do it. But I went into the fridge and cried and came back and made those damn drinks and got the people's food out and made it happen.
Right. And I think so much of what, I mean, to kind of stray off the topic a little bit, but I think so much of what we do in life is just to do for a immediate reward. And it's, I mean, if you really look into it, it's because we weren't set up for the opportunity to do without immediate reward. You know, in the sense that we were all living hand to mouth. And we don't necessarily set ourselves, we don't, because of society and because of you know, our lifestyles inside of our families, and they've been perpetuated. They didn't learn, they weren't taught that, so they aren't teaching us different ways of how to think about the dollar, or you know, about work, or about saving, or about spending, or about how, like, you know, food and stuff come into play. You know, I think, I think that is very interesting in itself. And I mean, we could go back to the root cause, you know, but anyway, I think I'm kind of straying myself here.
I actually really appreciate you saying that, because I think that is really why I feel the way I feel. I don't know if anyone does, or if everyone does, but I think I have come to the point where as an adult, I realize the way that I have been raised, which I love my family. I love them. I was a spoiled child. They don't think I was, because they wanted to give me more. They gave to me what they were able to give. I was very loved. I was very cared for. But I was cared for to the extent that the people caring for me were able to care for me. And as growing into an adult and seeing the way that the people who raised me, my parents, the way they choose to live, and it's not even necessarily that they're choosing to live, the way they have to live is what they have passed down to me. And as I've gone out and seen other people live differently, I realize that is not the way that I want to live. So now I'm having to, as an adult, retrain myself and everything that I know that allows me to survive. Like all of the skills and like the way I was taught to survive, I have to completely change if I want to live a better, or not better, but different. And yeah, I would say better. Like my parents were allowed to keep me alive, and how I saw to survive was work yourself to the bone and live very scarcely. Buy food from the dollar store and get the least amount of rent, you know, like the house that costs the least as possible. And, you know, and my parents tried to encourage me to like, and all these other things. But yeah, what you said made me think of, I think what makes it so difficult and makes me so, like, and kind of down is that I feel like, kind of like I was inhibited, is that the right word?
That's about right, yes, that's about right.
In a way, because of how, like, in much in poverty my family were raised and I was raised, in order to upgrade my life is like a way bigger hurdle. But I don't want to be a victim either.
Right, yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that, it can be a challenge, but something that I had to overcome, and my thing was really just to love my parents in spite of all the stuff that I felt like was really not humane. I didn't feel like it was right. And but I think ultimately it came back down to who I am today is largely because of those experiences that I've had. Without 1, 2, 3, about a second of those, it's just I wouldn't be the exact person that I am right now. And so I'm kind of thankful in a sense, and kind of almost feel hard for them, and that they had to experience such hardship and didn't have the opportunity to watch it and then learn from it the way I did and was able to, and grow and move on to something more than, or what I feel is more than, and I try to provide more for my child, and I think that's the goal for all of life, right? I mean, to be better than what was before us. I mean, to strive for more, to last longer, and to make more, to move on our bloodline. Yeah. Well, that to summarize, I hear you're definitely feeling tough, roughed up around the edges, and you're feeling the hardship of the times, and the past, and the present, and the future, and to feeling definitely like the freedom's hard. Freedom's an intense thing, especially in this day of war on consciousness. And we are drifting. I feel like, and I think it's just like a thought, like we discussed earlier about thoughts and how we don't interact with them. We don't poke them. We're not like, hey, what up, man? Then we're gonna drift further away from them. And we're not gonna be. It's not gonna be so easy to just reach over and poke them. Soon you won't be able to poke them at all. It's kind of like friends, So I kind of got to make those associations and make those pokes, Like, throw them around, kick them like a ball, and push them and get them to grow further and be more. I think that's ideal, right? I mean, so I definitely am hearing the hardships. Well, that says, I lost my notes. Hang on just a second. Alright, here we go. Well, I must ask, that's all that said. How is it that you feel you've been able to keep pushing through? I mean, because, that's pretty difficult shit. And the average person probably wouldn't be able to handle that. How are you managing?
Well, I have a few different ways, I think, that allow me, or that I utilize. I have a few different tools or ways of looking at things that I feel have allowed me to cope? Well, for one, like, for the most part, I just remind myself that I am okay. Like, I do see myself getting really in my head. I'm noticing that I'm playing a lot of what is going on that is bothering me in my mind. Like, oh, and I think we hear this a lot, especially nowadays, where we get on a pattern. And I think that I can see when I'm getting on a pattern of like, oh, but this is what I have to get done, and this is what I have to get done, and I can't get that done because of this. And once I start noticing that is happening because it's just bringing me to a lower and lower point, I think it's good to be aware of what you're feeling and acknowledge it. But once you start getting sucked into it and it's all that you're focusing on, it can definitely, you will start to drown in your own feelings and your own thoughts of negativity. And so once I start catching myself like that, I do remind myself of how I am grateful. Like when it's raining, I know the days are going to be shorter. It's kind of melancholy because you can't go outdoors and play and have fun outside as much. But I remind myself of what the water, the rain is doing that is good. It is allowing for everything to grow. Like I remind myself of what I do have that I'm grateful for. So like I do have a loving and caring family, even though it can be stressful and we all have our own things that we need to work on. When it comes down to it, I still have people in my life that care about me. I also just, even if I don't have people that care about me, I'm thankful that I do have myself. And I remind myself that I've gotten through situations that have been difficult in the past. And even though in that moment it felt like the end, or that I wouldn't ever remember what it felt like for things to be good, I've been there and I've come out of them, and they do get good again. Like everything is temporary, nothing is permanent. This thing that I'm going through, it's going to change, and if I allow myself to crumble underneath it all, either way, move forward is what has to happen. Things are going to keep going. Life is going to keep moving. The world is going to keep spinning. I can either allow myself to completely get crushed by all of this and then still eventually have to pull myself out of it, and later down the road it will just be even more difficult because I allowed myself to be smashed. Or I see myself in this place that is really hard, and there are these things that are coming at me. I either allow them to keep piling and crush me, or if one falls on me and then another one piles on top and it's heavier than all of the other ones, I just put it on overdrive, basically. Like right now I feel like I'm about to be crushed, but if I let that feeling go, so I imagine that tense feeling inside of myself that wants to break down. It's literally like an agony, a big ball of agony, of like sadness and pressure and fear and anger, and I feel it almost wanting to take over me, and I basically imagine myself, as I take a deep breath in, I imagine myself breathing in like peace and calm, and then as I blow out, I imagine myself taking that feeling as if it were an entity itself, and it's going to be released as I breathe. So I feel all of that, and I breathe in, and then I take it, and as I breathe out, it's like I'm letting it go, and I take and imagine the thoughts going with it. So as I breathe in, I take this feeling and my thoughts that are causing me to think negatively, and I tell myself in that moment, after I breathe in, that everything is going to be okay. These are just emotions, these are just thoughts, and it's not the reality. And I don't want it to become the reality, so I am letting it go, because I do know that energy and thoughts can become reality. And so I say they're just things that are getting in the way, but they don't define me, and they're not going to define my life, and I am stronger than these thoughts and these feelings, and I will overcome them. And in order to overcome them, I'm going to let them go, so that I can focus on what really needs to be focused on. And so I breathe in, I take that feeling, I take that thought, and I imagine them coming in together and then coming out of my throat and out of my body. And as they go into the air, they disintegrate like a piece of paper that you put on fire that then turns into ash. I almost imagine that energy and that thought coming into physical form as a piece of paper, burning itself and disintegrating, so that not only do I have to experience them and no one else has to get the energy, but the energy actually disintegrates and is no longer. And then it's almost like I can breathe again and I can feel a little bit calmer, and then I continue to tell myself, it's going to be okay, I am okay. What is really wrong? Am I being blown up? No. Bombs being dropped down on me? No. Am I doing heart surgery on someone? No. I am okay. I am here, I'm alive, I am breathing.
So kind of using grounding techniques
Yeah.
to kind of like, wait, where am I at right now? What am I doing? Am I okay?
Yes.
Bringing yourself in the present moment and then allowing yourself to breathe out those feelings, it sounds like, and visualizing them disintegrating in front of you, and ashes becoming what used to be your feelings or emotions.
Yeah, and you can even go as far as imagining those ashes to then becoming nutrients. So those were
Or
negative,
phoenix.
yeah, or phoenix. But I imagine like the ashes like disintegrating and then going back into the earth. And once they disintegrate and as they fall, they become good. Like they become fertilizer for growth. And so when they do fall, it actually allows for growth. Because that's what I do feel a lot of this is, like when something is painful, or like it's like when you're working out and you want to get that muscle, as you've explained to me in the past, you can push yourself just to the point where you think you can't do it anymore and then stop and be like, oh, I did it. Or you can like work your arm just to the point where you think you can't do it anymore and then push just one more little bit harder. And that is the point where it actually creates something more. There is actual growth that occurs, is when you push past that point where you don't think you can push past any longer. And I think that that's a lot of the time I come to those moments where I'm going to be crushed and I don't think I can push any further. And that's when I tell myself, you can push further. Let go of that energy and push past this, because it's just a steeper hill or a farther step. Sometimes it is still a step, it is still progress. It's just a little bit more challenging in that one moment. But if you can get past that, it's almost like you're raising the amount that you're able to take on. So like that was so hard, but instead of crippling underneath the difficulty, I pushed past that difficulty, and now I am able to handle something even more difficult. Not that I'm trying to call that in, but
No, fuck yeah, no, straight up, though, real talk. Life throws at you stuff all the time, and there are times to which I feel when I've been overcome by life, and that feeling in itself is a lot more like crippling than the feeling of being able to like push yourself to that point, give it, or push that point, see how far you can really go. I think it was put to me in a way that was like this. It's like, like you can push yourself. You could get off right now. You could call it. Like you could quit. You could quit. It's your choice. You're not in a battle. You're not. You don't have a soldier over you, like trying to stab you in the face, and that muscle is keeping his like a blade back from like taking your life. Like that's not what's happening right now. Like you have the ability to walk away, but do you really want to? Or do you want to see how far you could go? Are you curious what you could do? Like, why are you curious? Are you curious? Like, what's up? Isn't there a little bit of curiosity inside you that's like, what could I do though? Like, I can go this far. Could I go a little bit further? What could I do?
absolutely.
Real.
I think that's also something that keeps me going, though, is that, like, at the end of the day, as long as I'm assured in myself, like, there are days where I feel really low with, like, who I am or the confidence that I have of my skills and my abilities, but I have an idea of what I want to be and where I want to go, and that idea is so prominent within myself that I do know that I'm not going to let this overcome me. Like, I am going to breathe this out and let these feelings turn into and disintegrate, even if they are very real, even if I am about to lose my house, even if I am about to, like, I don't have a job, or I don't have this, or I don't know what to put food on the table tomorrow.
You know where you're
I
going.
know that I'm going to figure it out, because that's what I hold myself to. There's just no other way.
Yeah.
There is no other choice.
Do or die.
And so, basically, it's like, in a weird way, comforting. Like, at the end of the day, I will not allow for myself to not go where I want to go. And so, really, all I can do is breathe it out and move forward, and then focus on what I can focus. That's also one thing that I do a lot, is that I notice, first, it's like all these things are in my mind, and there's all these things I have to accomplish, so I'm getting overwhelmed by them. So I breathe and do the thing where I let them come out into reality and disintegrate, and then I'm able to focus on the things that I can do. So, like, okay, I was seeing myself get caught up and taken away with all of the emotions and this fear and feeling overtaken, and I let that go, and now I can just, like, have the energy and the emotion back to being cleared, so that I can tackle what I can tackle, if that makes sense. Like, instead of being overwhelmed, I let that go and then focus on the baby steps. Because I think that's where we get really down, is when we get jumbled in all of the things. Like, we're doing this one thing, okay, I did it. We're doing that one thing, okay, I did it. Oh shoot, and then you trip and you fall and you're kind of tumbling because it got the best of you for a moment, and then you kind of just have to reground, like you're saying, just reground yourself, let go of the energy, and kind of, like, take a step back and focus on what you can once again. And that will happen again. Then you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and then it goes crazy, and then you, okay, step back.
Yeah, that kind of brings me to the idea of the seasons. You know, Jim said it was like this, like, you know, the seasons come, and they haven't changed. They've been the same for, you could probably tilt your chair if you want a little bit. I found that I tilt mine because I was having to turn a lot.
I might, but I think I'm okay right now.
Okay. And so he said, yeah, like, it's the seasons. I mean, the seasons have been coming and going for the last 7,000 years that we know of. And so basically what he was saying is they're going to come, they're going to go. You know, the winters, they're going to come every year. You know, the hard times, they're going to be here. Every year they're going to come. And then what's going to follow, you know what I mean? The springs, and then the summers. You know, but then it's going to go back, and so it's like what made me think of that was that it's going to keep going, like how you said, like, oh, it's going to happen again, and you kind of, like, regroup, ground out, and do it again, dude. And the summers, I feel like, are those times, those high points, like Jim Rohn always talked about, like, taking advantage of your summers, and really using that opportunity to make it to where when the hard times come, when the winters hit, you're prepared for it. You're prepared. You have your sugar stocked up. You got your beans. You got your rice. You got your stuff inside. You're not worried about going out for water. You got jugs and jugs and jugs. Pardon me. But that's, you know, and so you got your books. You got your mental attitude. You got your motivational tapes. You got your wants. You got your desires. You know what you want. You got your goals written down. You got them chunked out. You got them step by step by step. What you're going to do today, tomorrow, the next day, this hour, this week, this month, this year. What's going to happen. How it's going to go down. Who you're talking. You're keeping the notes. You're reading the books. You're eating the apples. You're doing the small steps to get things done to where you want to go. And that's what he was talking about. It's like that consistency. And I do agree completely that it's definitely gonna come and come again. And it's when times when you're feeling good, when things are moving semi decently fast, those are the times you're like, oh yeah, it might be shitty sometime soon. Just gotta put a little gold nugget over here, a little one over there, set that aside. I definitely agree completely. Yeah, you rounded that out well. That was great. I really like that. Yeah, you have some good tactics for kind of pushing through. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited to kind of push on to this next topic, which is kind of like the idea of, I don't know how much of in the camera I am, so the idea of what we could learn from this experience, what we could take away, what we could gather for the next time. So almost kind of like that preparing, but rather than preparing in the summertime, this is almost like, oh, I'm in the winter, I'm in the rough. What the fuck can I take from this that will help me next winter?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. I think that has also been one of the things that has made it so difficult is not doing that. I think for so long I was, like how I started this off, I'm in the summer longing for the rain, and then once I finally get to the rain is nice and I appreciate it, but I'm not prepared for it. So then I'm like, oh, well, I'm already looking forward to the spring when the spring comes. Like, I think we all kind of experience that too. Like, oh man, it's so hot these days, can't wait till it cools down. And then once it cools down, we're like, oh man, it's so nice and chilly, I'm enjoying this. And before we know it, we're like, can't wait till springtime again, we can get the boat out. We're constantly looking for that next gratification. But if we were prepared for each season, we would be able to actually embrace and appreciate each season for what it was because we were prepared. Instead of being like, man, I'm not enjoying this so much because I'm unprepared, I've got to look to the next season. So I think that that's really where I need to start looking into, like, especially as I'm growing into this new person with different goals in mind. How do I sustain, and how do I not use this time to prepare for the next season? Or like, how can I use this time to prepare for the next season so that I can basically just catch up? Because I think for so long I've just not been caught up. I didn't use the summertime to prepare for the winter, and once it hit winter I wasn't prepared, so I just focused on, like, once it was in summer, I didn't prepare for fall. And once I was in fall, I wasn't prepared for fall, so I just looked to the winter. I'm constantly looking ahead of me instead of where I'm at right now. Right. And I think that's where being present really comes into play.
Yeah, no. Absolutely, yeah. Being present, definitely a key factor. And actually what it brought me to was the thought of really, what would it be like to not be? Because your idea is that you're unprepared, and so what would it be like to be unprepared all the time, but to be at bliss in the same time? And is that possible? And my mind brought me to the idea of a monk, and how they're just that. They're not prepared. They don't see placing a lot of value in anything. Like, it's that moment in time, it's that experience. But yeah, it's just,
how can you be present in that moment and in that experience and still prepare for future? That's what I think I get.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, and I think that's kind of that's the trick, I think, with the monks, is that belief and the idea that the future is an illusion, and so there's nothing to prepare for.
Just by being in the present, you are doing what you are doing, and therefore it is preparing you on its own.
Right, for you to become at peace with whatever happens, no matter what happens, for you to become at peace. So I think I think the idea is that you're at bliss no matter what. It could be raining, it could be sunny, it could be hailing, it could be snowing. But it doesn't matter, because what's inside you is constant, is continuous. And I think a lot of people have kind of come and alluded at this idea of what is there and where they go mentally and emotionally and in order to kind of harvest or kind of think of a different word, but yeah, nurture basically this feeling. Which is some definitely extremely interesting ideas. But yeah, I could see how that feeling, and then I could see how maybe even some slight bit of maybe some monk teachings maybe involved with balancing out those feelings and kind of and maybe coming out of that illusion might be helpful of like, oh well, I got to prepare for this and prepare for that. I think that's an interesting idea. That's like, oh well, we should be here now and just to be happy and just to be bliss at peace with what that means. Yeah, interesting. It just brought me into my thought. It's like, whoa, yeah, because I definitely get what you're saying. I'm one that loves to prepare myself. I'm one that was like,
I think I was really saying that I feel this way because I'm always not prepared. Because I'm so, like, up until my 30s, I was, like, I don't know, that's where it gets confusing. I felt like I really was just in the present, trying to do what I could do and be in the present. And now, and it's because I was like that. Now that I needed to be prepared, I'm not.
Right. Yeah, no, and I do agree, definitely. And so that kind of goes on. I mean, I kind of touched base on that just because it was an interesting idea, the idea of the monk being happy. When I do agree completely that really preparation, especially preparation in good times, for the times that are to come, because they are going to be challenging times. Life is like the season. The days are like the season. The year is like it's the season. It's the month is like the season. But I mean, really, I think the hour is like the season. I feel because it good better at times than I do at other times. But so I definitely agree with you 100%. And preparation is key. And I definitely feel that there's a balance to everything. I think, and then we kind of talked about this idea a little bit with the summer and how dry it was and how we always wanted it to, how we constantly were wanting something else. But I think, that kind of brings me to the idea of when I think of someone that's angry or negative or extremely aggressive. And of course my first thought is like, why is that necessary? Why? Why are you doing this, bro? And then, after I long think about it, after a long time of thinking about it, I come to the conclusion that that it's kind of necessary, because without him, I wouldn't be able to notice when people were being nice, when people were being cool, when people were being chill. You know what I mean? Like, I would only be able to see, all that other stuff. It would all look the same. You can't have light without dark. It's that balance, that yin and the yang, and so in that same sense, and maybe this is where they're subscribing to the monks, is the kind of idea that, I need that hardship. That hardship's gonna come. I can feel those feelings. Doesn't mean I have to, like, express those feelings or be those feelings or let that feeling be me. I can feel those feelings because I need that dark. I need those darks in my painting for the fucking brights to pop, for things to really stand out, for me to see what's really happening, for not to be all blurred and trippy looking. So it's like, oh, those things are almost kind of necessary. And it's like, and that's kind of almost where Jim would say that too. Like, feel your feelings. When you failed, when you're feeling disappointed, when you're feeling hardship, feel those feelings. Feel those feelings. Use that for fuel in your fire, to fuel and boil your success pot until you've got, steam for, years to come to share with the world. And I think that's a cool idea that popped in my head. After thinking about, what you were saying, I think, again, good stuff. And I definitely agree. I think that it's really preparation. That it really comes down to if you're going to learn from anything, well, I think it's preparation and the takeaway of balance. I think that's my takeaway from what we kind of come to the conclusion of. I mean, correct me if I'm off on it, wrong kind of tangent.
I don't know where we're at this point.
You just kind of lost what we're talking about, or?
No, I think that I agree. You're right. It's about balance, about preparing by being present. By being present, you're able to not think about what you need to do for the future or why you didn't do what you needed in the past. Because if you are living in the present, you are already therefore doing and preparing.
Right.
When you're thinking about the other times, you're not getting things done because you're thinking about them instead of just doing it.
Right. And here's an interesting idea that I just thought of when you said that. Maybe rather than thinking 10 steps ahead, you just think 1, maybe 2.
Yeah.
And so you're like, okay, well, like, when I'm done with this, I'm going to do this. I think 1 is good. Because what if it doesn't happen? You definitely don't want to be 2-step, wasted your time on 2 steps ahead if it never happens.
Yeah.
But if it happens, you got that 1 step next plan. It's like, boom, okay. And that's what I do in chess, too, actually. That's exactly what I do in chess. I make my move, and I know exactly what my move is going to be next. And if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I only go 1 step ahead. Because if I go too many ahead, they can move a different piece. And that messed my whole shit up.
Yeah, I think that that's what I also tend to do as well, is that I think in order to
10
do
steps.
the first thing, I have to map out the 10
Right,
things.
yeah.
And then by the time I'm written down the 10th
Yeah,
thing that I
you're
need to
like,
do,
what
I've
the
already
fuck's that
lost
one
the first
thing?
thing.
Yeah.
Or I'm just demotivated because I have to, because
So
I'm
much
looking at all of the
You're
things.
looking at the hill instead of the steps.
So
yeah.
if I just tackle, like, okay, I gotta do this now, I gotta do that, instead of planning too much. I think, yeah, I'm definitely someone who plans a lot. I have a very specific
Over planning.
yeah.
Over preparation. That
Yeah.
could be a thing
I'm
too.
a perfectionist as well. So being a perfectionist
Boom.
while over planning, eventually, before you know it, you're just so planned out and perfectionist over that nothing will ever be good enough.
So
And you're overwhelmed, don't want to do it anyway.
So I think my takeaway from here is definitely balance.
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to living in the fucking moment, but also preparing for the next step. Like if it happens.
Yeah.
Like being aware of.
Sounds hard in itself. Like be present, but think about the future. But don't think about the future.
Well, don't think about. Don't think
Just
about.
Don't think.
Yeah, I mean, don't think about everything that could happen. Just think about what you're gonna do next. I think that's what it comes out like. Just don't think about everything that could happen.
But then when I think about what I'm gonna do next, I'm like so overwhelmed about what is most important and what will be most. And I think that's where I get into trying to overplan. It's because I'm like, well, this is what I need to know all of the things that need to get done in order to understand what is priority. But by the time I write out everything that needs to get done, I'm so overwhelmed by all of it that the priority is too much in itself. Even if it is one thing, I'm like, ugh, but look at everything. But either way, time is going to keep passing. So we can either be stumped by all the things that we need to do and then never start on the first one, or just accept the fact that time is going to keep moving, and yeah, we gotta just do the first thing.
And almost with that idea that like the seed should burst. If it doesn't burst, it's probably gonna die. So if it bursts open, and we were using the flower idea, but basically if it needs to burst, it may never be the right time. But it will never know unless it bursts and gives that opportunity to try and grow.
They don't know about your flower.
They don't know about my flower. You're right. It was a conversation about a flower that we had learning, but regardless of which, I'm kind of giving the same analogy with the seed right now.
Yes.
Yeah, without bursting out of the seed and giving it a chance to grow in what may be proper, unideal environment. Yeah, like we will it'll never know, and it'll never be able to it will also it won't know, but yeah, in that same key, like it won't be able to like overcome what it could have the opportunity.
And it has to take the chance in order to grow at all.
If
You
it doesn't
can't
take
just
the
stay in your
time's gonna
seed
pass,
and never burst out and expose yourself to the vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable in order to grow. Is basically what I'm hearing.
That's
from
kind of that was a good takeaway.
you.
Gotta be vulnerable, yeah, I like it. Okay, cool.
Becoming comfortable with vulnerability. It's okay to feel
Let
vulnerable.
me check this one more time, make sure I'm kind of in the mix.
It's all stopped and hasn't been filming.
Yeah.
And none of that was captured.
Okay, well, yeah, absolutely. Vulnerability, you definitely need a level of vulnerability. I definitely agree.
Like, did you know the butterfly can't ever see its wings? So the butterfly is never, I don't know why that came to my mind also, but like being vulnerable and being okay with the vulnerability. And like also like doing something because it feels right, even if it doesn't become something. It's like a butterfly becomes a butterfly without even being aware that by just being itself, it is as beautiful as it is.
I'm gonna grab the puff go. I'll be right back. Yeah, no, I
don't even know if that makes
actually
sense.
didn't know that about the butterflies.
Yeah, they can't even see their own beautiful wings. And it's been known to be the most beautiful pattern in nature.
My pants were-
They're not even aware that they are the most
they
beautiful
can't.
thing in nature.
Whoa, that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's
They just
great.
are. Oh, I bet they could like look at their reflection in the water though.
Oh, because they can't turn around, you're saying.
Yeah, like their eyes are this way. They can't like, or their eyes are right here. They never see their wings. Their wings don't reach up. I don't know if that's true. I
Right.
read somewhere that a butterfly is unable to see its wings. So therefore it never understands that it's actually one of the most beautiful things.
That's really cool. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And where did you learn that?
I don't know, probably Facebook meme or something.
A meme. Well, you know,
That's
the
why I said I
meme
don't know if it's true.
Yeah, the meme things. It's like, how can you ever know if they're really like?
I think a lot of them aren't.
It's
I
like
don't know.
they just said that to say that.
But I want to know.
Now you gotta
Can
know.
a butterfly see its wings?
Here's what I found.
That negates everything that I just said. I think they can see their wings. Butterflies can almost certainly see their own wings. The compound eye gives them almost 360-degree vision, and their wings are very large and very slow moving.
I'm like, yeah, I think it's good.
They can! Yeah, see, someone put it though. See, butterflies can't see their wings. They can't see how truly beautiful they are, but everyone else can. We are like that as well. That's the meme that I read. It's like, we're also like that.
Just like butterflies, we can't see our beauty.
We can. Some can and some can't see their own beauty, but butterflies can. Anyway, butterflies can see their own wings. So I'm not going to offer. You're just going
Oh, sorry.
to take one and then
What?
just leave your co-host or co-interviewer, viewee.
I figured you'd ask, or something like that.
I figured it was implied.
Just kidding.
So yeah, a little safety break, folks, I guess is what's happening.
Well, it's good to stay safe.
It's a pretty in-depth conversation. This is the magnificent Puffco.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. It's ready to go though, so yeah. Yeah, it works pretty well. I'm gonna use the bathroom actually, it works out well.
Would you like to grab a Q-tip on your way back?
Yes, most certainly, darling.
Thank you, darling.
Yes.
Dang it. How are all of you feeling?
We could have done a Twitch stream.
I guess so.
Could have had some viewers talk to them and stuff. We can do that too. I was thinking we should probably just do that. I've always wanted to do like a smoking stream, just because I have the most cool conversations. Get really baked up, you know?
Yes.
Inside. Listen to good music. Smoke weed.
I think that'd be cool. I would be into that.
I just don't know. I guess you can smoke weed on there.
Can you?
Anyway, let's stay at the topic at hand. Alright, intermission over. Okay, so Jessica, very good. Oh, I'm loving it. Well,
It's
okay.
feeling kind of good to talk about too, actually. So
Yeah?
yeah, helpful to get out why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, or at least just contemplate on why. Because I did wake up feeling, like I wanted to be happy. I am overall, like woke up with a beautiful, handsome man who's just so caring and excited, and he's all energetic and everything, and I didn't want to bring him down. So as much as I wanted to talk about how I was feeling, I also didn't want to bring you down or stress you out by admitting that I'm stressed out. But at the same time, it's hard to just ignore. So I'm like trying to be upbeat and happy and encouraging, but really like feeling stuck in myself, and also wanting to talk about it but not knowing. And it's even different with my counselor, like I don't know, I think I'm definitely open with her, but it's interesting just talking about it and not hearing any thoughts on, like, you're not tuning into why I may be thinking or feeling this. Like, oh, well, this makes sense because you might be doing this and that. You're just listening to my perspective and adding your own perspective on said subject. And we're both being objective in feeling down. Like, I'm not just talking about how I'm feeling down. We're talking about the act, the situation, the moment, the feeling where anyone feels. like they're trekking through
Neutral.
turbulation.
Yeah, it's neutral.
Yeah, it's just neutral, and we're both sharing our perspectives and thoughts on the subject. I'm not the subject. The subject is the subject, which is being down and trekking through turbulent times. So it's cool to talk about it like that, in a way I'm talking it through without the focus being on myself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely see that as being, super, it's helpful. So, I definitely, I can kind of agree, I mean, on some level, I don't know if I'm hitting on it completely, or if I'm exactly in the direction, but when speaking with a counselor, it definitely is different. I mean, you just kind of feel an obligation of sorts, and then you also, I mean, for myself, I feel a level of I don't know, limited, I guess, but yeah, I'm just not able to fully share what I would share, I guess, to somebody that I know, or that I have a deeper connection with, and can just speak, be myself, breathe, not be in such an uncomfortable situation. I just feel
like it's more professional than friendly.
It's more right now.
No, like the relationship with the counselor is professional, whereas talking with like
absolutely.
a friend or someone that you really genuinely close
you
to.
can
It's
meet
not
it
as
and
professional,
really
it's
open
casual.
that. And it's different. Because you're able to express things openly. The way you would express it to a friend, and not some professional.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like we're like not trying to put it in their language. You're just putting it out there. It's like, this is just what it is. This is who I am. This is what it is. This is how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely come on with that. Well, that's good. And that brings me to kind of the idea that I was wanting to do this more often. I was thinking there was a lot of different subjects to which we both have.
Yeah.
That we don't have the ability to sit and talk with the counselor about, really, because they're not available all the time. Even though it's really, really helpful.
It is really helpful. I love my counselor.
To speak about it and to.
By the way, I love having a counselor. Pro counselor.
The way my counselor spoke about it was see yourself as kind of like in that, unbiased, like unjudgmental way, as if observing yourself from an outside perspective, like speaking your feelings allows you to see them from from the visualization of like your consciousness. You're not just feeling them; you're now seeing them. So
like they're their own thing.
Yeah, you're painting them into a picture.
Yours, and they don't come from you.
Right.
Your emotions are themselves, and you almost have to understand them. So that's also something I've done that's helped me too. Like trying to get it was hard for me to bring myself to do it for some reason. Like I was so angry, and almost like wanted to be angry, felt validated in my anger, felt it was my anger, which it is. It's coming, I don't know, like from something. It's like hard to explain, but once I wrote down like, I am angry. And then I was like, why am I angry? And at first I'd be like, well, because this person did this to me, or this happened, and it's not okay. But when I really was like, no, like, why, like, what am I actually feeling? Like, and it would be like, well, I'm feeling not heard. I'm feeling like I am angry because I'm feeling like this person doesn't respect my opinion. And then it was like, okay, well, why don't I think they respect my opinion? Well, I don't think they respect my opinion because, yeah, it goes back to like that I don't feel heard, like, because they weren't listening to me, and I don't know, but you basically.
You would feel unheard? That's weird. Jess.
Whatever.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because communication is difficult. I think also sometimes it's not that the other person is not trying to hear you. And I think that's where it becomes like defensive. I'm defensive because this person doesn't care about me. If because they don't care about my opinion, they're not. And I think that because they're not listening. I'm like, well, you know, at the same time, not everyone understands what we're trying to get across by how we say it. We can assume that they understand us, but I think sometimes it takes just like not taking it offensively, like it's not on purpose, and kind of, yeah, seeing maybe it ends up being, I think, more about ourselves in the long run. Like when I really break it down and I write it all out, and how I'm explaining it is different than how it usually goes, I think, on paper. Like, if I really word
It was pretty good. I don't know, it was pretty good. How you explained it was still like, I mean, just speaking it even is like, whoa, like how could, but definitely writing that down and rereading it and being able to see the writing, that definitely takes it to a whole new level of like, whoa, that's not me. Those are feelings, and they don't even look cool. Yeah.
And they don't make as much sense in my head as they think. Like, as I'm writing down, well, this happened, and I'm like, oh, well, that happened because of this, not because of either person. It's just a situation, and this person's reacting the best way they know how, not trying to be hurtful, and I'm reacting the best way I know how, but I'm feeling hurt, but that's not always what is actually happening. So it's good to, just like, when you're getting overwhelmed by your feelings, writing it down step by step. I think that was helpful too. Like, okay, I am upset. Like, why am I feeling upset? And then like you can start to see like, because of this. Well, actually, okay, well, because of this. Okay, well, why do I feel that that is what's happening? And it's just like breaks it down very smoothly and like in a way that you can process easier than when you're feeling it and you're just like, ah! And then you can understand it, and then usually the solution you can think of solutions, and then you're not even as angry anymore because you took the time, like angry or sad or feeling alone or whatever you're feeling, because you wrote it out and really looked at it in the broader spectrum, and then you took the time to calm down in doing so as well. So you understand it, it's on paper, you've had time to calm down about it, and now you can focus on the solution.
Yeah. Alright, I like that a lot. That's well said. Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So
This is cool.
So let's see. We kind of touched base on how we could learn from, which ultimately came from balance.
Yes.
Okay, like, well,
We can learn from like how to be prepared for the seasons by having balance of being present and preparing by being present, because by being present you are naturally preparing.
yes.
Okay.
Boom. Boom. That was good. Yeah. And then, I mean, I was think of the one. I always like to think of my one next move, whatever that's gonna be, or goal. Maybe it's a goal.
Goals are good.
Having one goal.
Having one goal. Yeah.
Having one goal.
Baby steps, focus on one step.
While being present. So maybe your goal could be being present, but after you master that, having one goal on top of being present. So they're one.
So what makes me want, I like that, yes. So one goal, being present, you accomplish that goal, and then you can do the being present while doing one goal. Accomplish that, be present, focus on the next goal. That's at hand.
I don't know if I was so much saying it would, but that's an interesting idea too. The idea of it not ever being always being able to be present and focus on a goal, but having to focus on a goal, or having to focus on the goal of being present. Once mastering that, then have a goal to focus on that that you're able to align with being present because you're able to be present. But then after that breaks apart again, having the goal to be present. So maybe having the goal to be present.
Maybe did we get stoned? I just kidding. Yes, I appreciate you. I appreciate that.
I know, I like that. No, I was more saying that, that once you have so the goal is...
Can I ask though, I really mean to interrupt you.
Oh, it's okay. What's up?
I just think that when we say being present, sometimes it has been, and at times I really understand it, and then other times I also don't. And I think others might have the same situation where it's like, what even really is being present? Like, okay, how does one become present? What is being present? We hear it, just be present. You know, all you gotta do is we'll be present, and then this and that. Like, okay, do you mean sit down and drink a glass of tea? Like, and own, or like breathe, or just stand still, or what do we mean? What do we mean when we say be present?
I love this question. I love this question. It's so good. And it's not one that I would say anyone.
Like just one definition.
Yeah.
Sorry, I won't interrupt you.
Yeah. You'd say there's. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there probably is one definition, and I wouldn't say there's anyone that I know or know of in this world quite yet that knows exactly what that is. I think that, like everything in life, we make assumptions or make classifications or associations with things based on what we see, hear, touch, taste, based on our senses. And we can only do so much. We only have so many senses. We've learned with modern day science that there's more than just what we have the ability to pick up on. Mm-hmm. And so I would say, personally, that yes, you will hear probably everyone say something different. And there will never be ever one definition for sure. And I would say that no one actually absolutely knows what that is.
Well, how would you describe it for yourself?
But thank you, yeah. But yes, for me to describe being present, it takes me to my senses. It takes me to a saying that the past is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. And now live in the present. A gift, you could say, from the higher, from what is, from what was.
Are they going to be able to hear you?
Can be. That's a great question. I don't know. Well, a lot of people will probably have to mouth read this if they're looking to fully understand what I'm saying. I did get a little head change, and I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's good.
But what I would have to say is yes, The five senses are a wonderful way for me to find the gift that we've been given from above, if following that saying. And we all know what the five senses are. You know, we have feeling, touch, taste, which is associated with smell.
Yeah.
We have a vision. And we have the ability to hear things. So we have five senses
Supposedly.
that we speak about commonly.
Just
Yeah, and I would say that, I use my five senses to ground out. I just, say like, what am I seeing? I add what am I feeling to that, actually. Because feeling to me is a sense. Like, the gut feeling, the vibration, the emotion that we're getting from everything that we're sensing, that to me is something. But yes, I say, like, what am I seeing? What am I tasting? What am I touching? What am I hearing? Anyway, I go down the line. You get the point, and that kind of allows me to be in this present, in this gift that we have right now. And I commonly do that by allowing myself to focus on the breath. The breath to me is like the ocean waves. It is consistent, and it is really our lifeblood. I mean, I kind of see it as like our heart beating. And except for we almost have the ability to like pause it for a second and manipulate it, or breathe deeper, and there's something to the breath. Wim Hof is on something.
Doesn't it control our
This is real.
heart?
Like, breathing techniques are real. It does a lot. It does a lot. Yes, it has the ability to control your heart. It can regulate your temperature. Breathing can do a lot of things. It can bring your heart rate down. It can elevate your blood pressure. Yeah, breathing is amazing. It can calm and center you. Yeah. And so I definitely feel as if that is something that we commonly get away from and is easy to do. Is just sit and not to manipulate, not to force, not to tug on or beat up, but to just sit there and be aware of your breath. Just literally just be aware, just feel it. And you'll find at least when I find when I'm following my breath, I experience things I've never experienced before. Uncomfortable feelings to pleasurable feelings. But things that I definitely have nothing to do with external, forces. They're all very internal. It's all what has to do with my metabolic system and what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, what I have in my emotional state at that time. And so, that is what I would say. That's how I ground out a little bit of breathing and just being aware of my senses. To summarize that up.
It's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
It's
thank you.
very good explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're decent. They did the trick, guys. Alright, so keeping moved right along here.
Can I really touch one note really quickly?
Yeah, of
on
course.
that?
Touch along, yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I absolutely agree with what you said, and that is one tactic that I also do. But when I think of being present, for me, nature comes a lot in touch with that. So I think the best times I've ever found myself present, like I've definitely recently started doing with breathing, which is incorporated also, but especially if I'm like outdoors and like just immersed with trees, like barely any of society, and like especially during that like fall time that I was telling you, where it's leaving fall and just going into, or it's leaving summer and just going into fall, so it's still warm and it's still like sun's still shining and peeking through the trees, but there's this moment where I literally am in just that moment. Like I'm not thinking about the future or the past or what I need to do or where I'm at or what time it is or anything like that. I'm literally, all I can hear, and it is with the senses, as he says, like what I hear are the birds and like the wind going through the trees, and what I feel on my skin is the sun and like the breeze on my skin and the smell of the all the nature that's around me, the pine, like the pine from the trees and the sweetness from like stale like blackberries that are done from the summer, but it's still so sweet because they're the most ripe that they can be, and like hearing the birds and the sound of the birds and the crunching underneath my feet of the leaves and the rocks and the dirt, and just really being fully immersed in something, like especially with nature and around nature, and like feeling that cold, crisp air like enter my lungs and into my body, and like using my body to like either hike up or like just walking down this trail, like feeling my body move, and my senses are most alive out there in that moment, and it's easier for me to be present, I feel like, in those times. But that's what really being present makes me think of.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That really is. And in fact, it does bring me to, absolutely, just the very word grounded. I mean, like, just like bring yourself out to the ground and just put yourself on the ground.
Yeah, just sit in the grass.
Just take your shoes off, stand, take your hands off, feel.
Roll around like a dog.
Like, feel like the pig's got an idea, man. Yeah, they like, just feel, just ground up. But absolutely, in nature, like everything is alive when you're out there. I mean, think of what we're in now. I mean, I hate to say it, because it's sad.
Oh no, what is it? No, I mean, okay.
I mean, we're sitting in a box of death.
Oh goodness.
I mean, as I sit right here, right now, and we go to work, we work in boxes of death. I mean, these weren't trees that fell, and they were like, oh, let's use these trees, because they're already dead, and we're gonna use them now. Like, yeah, man.
That goes deep.
Yeah, anyway.
When it comes to the trees, it's true. He talks a lot about if it was just all overgrown, all the old growth of the many trees. Because all these trees that we see, even here in Oregon, we have a lot of trees, but they're all still young in comparison to how old they really could be. Like, where did all the old trees go? We cut them down and made homes out of them. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. You say it better than I do or ever could, but there's so much we could say about that. But are you trying to keep on task?
Yep.
I'm not trying to go crazy. I'm not trying to go all crazy all over.
Swoosh back over to the right,
back.
train reel. Okay.
On track.
Here we go. So, to summarize and how we could prepare for the future, we talked about that, and we're just talking about and how we learned, or did I touch base on that? I feel like I did. I looked at it a couple times, but I'm not sure if we hit it. So
I
let me
feel
just
like we did.
Backtrack slightly. So
where did we end off? Where the key was balance.
Balance. What we
of
learned.
Being prepared.
And so in fact,
and being present.
to learn for the future, again, just that we need to be present, be present, and have the goal be being present and balancing that presence with having one goal of you're choosing.
Yes.
And
present, so you don't have to always go out into nature and do all of that stuff to be present. It's nice, and I feel like having those moments where you go out into like nature, or you practice the breathing technique and using all of your five senses. That's I think where the whole five senses comes into play, like you were saying, is in any moment that you're in order to be present, is to just pay attention to what is around you right then. Bring yourself back to where am I, what am I smelling, what am I tasting, what am I hearing, what do I feel.
Right. Right. And also, I mean, on a second note, or on a different note, like you can, I mean, I'd love to surround myself with as much nature as I can. And so anytime, like, you know, deep down inside in your souls, and I'm sure you've heard, you can get a houseplant, you know. But crystals are amazing, are an amazing way to bring that energy with you, to carry it with you. They're sacred. I mean, they really are. They come from nature. And they're alive. Part of nature. They're alive still too. They're still alive. And so your plants and your crystals are alive. But then also, I love to burn sage. There's so many different types of sage, and I think it's underrated. But it's definitely a way I love to ground out and to be here.
And I think that's why we do. That's why we do it. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, just these hippies just burning sage and having their crystals. But no, it really is, because it allows us practicing these rituals and like having these routines or these tools where, like, I don't know, burning the sage really brings you to what you're doing right then. It's very entrancing, and like, I don't know if those are the words I want to be using.
Well, it hits the senses for sure. I mean, at least, you know, what you can see, what you can smell, you know what I mean? You can touch it, you can, you know, maneuver it, stuff like that. And I mean, you can feel it.
And it's a simple practice that doesn't have a lot of like
heat,
distraction. You're just burning it.
Yeah, it's changing your environment. It's changing everything. And quite literally, according to science, it's supposed to purify the air, you know, in some way. And then the plants, again, they're oxygenating the air. So when you're going outside and you're going around all these live things and you're being present, it's like you're alive things, you're around things that are alive, but these things that are alive are also, like, you know, emitting oxygen. And oxygen is what's fueling our bodies. And we're in these dead coffins of fucking homes that we're in.
Just putting unnatural air and heat into our...
I'm pretty, I've never really thought of it like that before. I'm pretty kind of grossed out now.
Maybe that's why people like being homeless.
Or living in adobe huts.
That's what I want to make. Cob homes is the future, people.
I know.
Cob homes, because they're alive. You can design them yourself however you want. You make them, you create them with the substances. It's soil, it's earth, it's clay, it's straw, and it's durable. It's beautiful. And we are going to make our home out of it. Cob homes are the future. I am going to take that course at some point.
Love it. Yeah. Yeah, so we touched some good topics there. I love it.
It's been a long video too.
Yeah, it's good content for sure. Let's see. I mean, I got a couple last things here. I mean, two last things really. I mean, one of them's kind of like, but I mean, we kind of touched base. I mean, it was what could you do right now if you could do anything to change how you feel?
Well, I mean, this helped a lot. I think just talking about it. I think thinking about, I don't know, this just was helpful. The way, whatever questions we just did and the steps we went down, like we talked out not feeling very well and going through turbulent times and what that means for us as people, and ways that we can look at it differently, and like ways to be present, and like, we went through solutions and we talked it through, what it was like to feel it, and then even put analogies metaphors that had to do with nature involved with what's going on with us, and I think doing it in a way where I wasn't the focus, just talking about it as it was a plain thing, an experience we all have, was helpful. Removing myself from it and just seeing it for what it is allowed me to find solutions, and also made me realize that there are already things that I do that are helpful, that I can practice more often and find and develop even more. I think it would be fun to create even more ways now that I know that certain ways are, now talking it out and knowing that I breathe it out and let it disintegrate into the ashes, and that I can pay attention to my 5 senses and really ground and become present and focus on what's happening right now, and ways to allow myself to get there in order to do so. I can find even more exciting new ways to
absolutely,
to
and
cope and work through.
absolutely, absolutely. And to coattail on that, just the act of doing what we're doing was, like she said, really helpful. Also, it kind of gave us something to reference in the future, how we were feeling, and also, I mean, we could do, there's many things you could do with it. But just feel like it encourage people to, if you're not feeling the best, like find someone who's willing to talk with you and just kind of cam it out. Maybe have them write some questions down they want to ask you. Just cam it out. I mean, these are just basic questions.
I think just some basic, like you having the topic and us discussing it together objectively. That was cool.
Yeah, objectively, and I think in a non-biased way, and just kind of keeping the flow of the conversation. Just remembering that, it's about like coming to conclusions and then hitting those, and I think just letting it happen. I think there was no really structure, form, just kind of simple cues would be good to cue a friend who's feeling down. Just like, hey, like, what's up? Like, it's like, how you feeling? It's like, this is a good start. I think that's how we started. So.
How are you? I think you're like, you obviously said, how am I feeling? And I think that I wasn't even fully, what was bothering me the most was that I hadn't allowed space in order to perceive what was actually happening. So writing too, I don't do that a lot, but I do think that, but it was almost easier, it was easier than writing, because I would go to a piece of paper and be like, well,
what am I gonna write?
What am I gonna write? I think well, I could do the breakdown, but that's usually easier when I'm really feeling like, I'm feeling this because of this, and break it down. But I was just feeling very just like, I don't know, like things are okay, but I just.
So many different categories to kind of, come together with. Yeah, I can understand that.
So you being like, do, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's good. That's
and I was gonna say like, oh, what can I do? Like, just work out or do some yoga or like make some tea, but sometimes I'm unable to do those things because I haven't really thought out why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So that's why I think this was helpful over those things. I think those things can be helpful next, but in order to have the motivation to want to do those things, just being able to talk out and be aware of what I'm feeling and why, and other ways that I can find and make tools to work through what I'm experiencing in life as I'm experiencing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, other than just the yoga and the tea and stuff. Understand what I'm experiencing, and then I'm able to process and be present and do those things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, and it's huge. Being present is really what it comes back. Oh no, I just don't want you to get distracted.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, and so Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, that's good. This is good stuff. This is really good stuff.
Also, things I know that would make me feel better that I've been putting aside, but this helps too to allow me to get to a place where I can do that, is just taking care of myself. And I think in order to take care of yourself, sometimes you don't need to like take a whole, I don't know, just, yeah, like filing and cleaning my nails, making sure my hair is like either washed or oiled, or I can even just like braid it in a nice way that makes me feel good, or taking a shower and getting clean and putting on something that's cozy. Like really just like paying attention to where I'm at with my physical being. Like do I want, you don't have to shave or do any of those things, but just feeling good about yourself where you're at. Like I could probably, like after talking all of this out, I know that I would feel better if I like, yeah, maybe braided my hair, painted my toenails, and lotioned up my whole body with like a really nice natural smelling thing, not something with chemicals and stuff, but something that feels good and smells good. Moisturizing my body.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
and
care of our skin and our teeth and our faces and our hair.
Yeah.
Showing our bodies love. Sorry.
Yeah. I will say that kind of brings to my attention that I didn't really chime on a couple things that have helped me through the times that I've been low in my life, which has been many. But that is it's really for me largely just two things. I'll say that have really been, aside from what we spoke about, and yeah, really self-care is huge. I guess three things, and I will start with this one, and it is kind of self-care, and with that I will say health, like health and fitness. Health being what you eat, and fitness being like what you do with your body. You can't expect your body to look a certain way if you do certain things. It's like your body, you're gonna get what you ask for. You're gonna get what you earned. You're not gonna. It's not you're gonna miraculously have a sculptor body if you don't do anything to get there. You gotta if things are gonna change for you, you got to change.
Yeah.
You know
and
what I mean?
that was also one of the reasons I was feeling down. Like not all of that, but because my habits have to align with what I want to be happening in my life. Sorry.
And then, aside from that, the other two are small steps. Like, it's like you could almost piggyback with that. It's like you can't you're not gonna be like a bodybuilder after a day. You're not gonna be an artist after a day. You're not gonna be a sculptor after. You get the point. What I'm saying is, every day, 15 minutes a day. Like doing it little by little by little, knowing that's that small step that's gonna get you to where you're looking to go. No, that's your one step closer, homie. You are one step closer to where you're looking to go. It's just like taking that one step. It's just like every step, and being happy about it, treating yourself for that step, knowing that feeling good about that step. You get one step closer. Get hyped. You feel good. Feel real good. Whatever it is you're doing, like feel good about it. Like know you're moving towards something. Success, moving in that direction is huge, huge, huge. And then aside from that, those two things, I will say perspective. Like everything changed for me when I realized that it was all fucking perspective. Like it's shitty for everybody. It's 50-50 for everybody. It's the yin and the yang for everybody. We all see black and white like we see it. We have night and days. We have the seasons. Like it's hard for everybody. Like we all get taxed. Shit's hard. Shit is difficult. Like we all see the same colors. You get the fucking point. What I'm saying. Like shit's hard. Like it's not. But it's perspective. The glass is half full for everybody. That's what I was getting at. And you know, it's how you look at that glass. You know, we're all dealt cards. Like, it's not the hand you're dealt; it's how you play it. And it's perspective. It's perspective, fam. Like, wake up happy. Where you are, where you're at. You could be worse. Anybody could be worse. The person on the worst of the worst could be worse. They've got things they're happy about. Like, where it's dark, it's light. It's not just dark. It's not. It's not. It has to balance out. There's balance. It's balanced some way, somehow. There's some sort of balance. And I guess unless you live in a cave. I don't know. Just ended on a fun note.
We were keeping it really together really well.
But yeah.
But that's good. That's
yeah,
amazing.
I think again, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, to wrap that up, yeah, health, yeah, and exercise, like, you know, and yeah, small steps and perspective. Like, those three things for me made the biggest difference. They make the biggest difference in my life when I wake up, when I do the things that I'm doing. Yeah, and be happy about that. And no, you're not gonna like build Rome until you build a shack, until you build a birdhouse, until you fucking learn how to glue wood, homie. Like, you gotta start with the small shit. And yeah, discipline, as my homie Pat would say. Shout out to you, Pat. What up? Yeah, alright. Yeah, that's about what I got to say about that. And we can move on. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to say about that. I got another something. Yeah, and then other than that, it was goals and aspirations and things you're moving forward towards now. You keep looking at my piece of paper, you're going to get distracted.
Sorry. I was able to look before. It was just on the
okay.
table.
It's okay. It's okay. Stay focused. What else was I talking about? Alright, so goals and aspirations we're moving towards now. So, like, now that we've walked away with that, what's maybe different now than was before, or is it consistent? Is it the same? And are those like really more carved in your stone, and you understand them more in your journey of where you're going towards them now?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Goals and aspirations now that you have to move towards that are pulling you in that direction. That may be different now than before we had this conversation and had some of these breakthroughs.
Okay.
Or if they're the same.
Well, I feel like
I mean, it's kind of diverting a little bit off topic. We did kind of wrap it up pretty well.
no, it's okay. I mean, if you want.
I mean, okay, all right. So good. So yeah. Things that are pulling you right now that are helping to get you out of the rut.
Yes, I think that this really did help me because I was doing the whole, like, I think that, yeah, what got me down really was that I was overwhelmed and was looking at the bigger picture. I was getting in that snowball effect where I'm like, oh, everything is catching up to me and I'm having a hard time keeping up, and it was one of those moments where I was getting thrown more at once and was almost buckling, but knowing I needed to push past it, but was having a hard time pushing past it, so it was just feeling like a sinking in myself. And because we talked it out, now I think goals and aspirations, after we've talked everything out, is like to know to just focus on what I need, what I want to be my goal. Like, instead of thinking of all the things I need to get done that are not getting done, if I can make it shorter and make it one goal and also become very present. Make sure that I am doing the things like just breathe, let those emotions come out and disintegrate, and be thankful for the season that I'm in. And if I focus on what I need to now, what's just in front of me, then I'll naturally be preparing, and it will just get better and better. This is the hard part, where I'm shifting my patterns and my habits and getting better at being present. And once I work that muscle more, so I guess my goal is to work the muscle that allows me to be present and focus on one step at a time. And the stronger that I make that muscle, the easier everything else will be, and it will start to flow.
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of coming back to what we've learned, what we're preparing for the future, and things we can do right now. Yeah, exactly. So that's just kind of all those things, kind of reiterating each other. Yeah, again, just backboning off each other, just coming back down to being present, setting that goal, and then allowing that goal to be your staff in this
just get really clear on my vision.
life.
I think I had a vision, it was very clear, and something happened. I got let go of the job I was really excited about, steering me off and not knowing, and steering me off track, making me want to go back to old things that I've already done, instead of pushing forward and finding what I meant to do other than that. Because I don't want to go back, but it wasn't this, and so I gotta regroup and find out what it actually is. Reframe my vision. It wasn't meant to be. Even if it seemed like a great opportunity, it's not an opportunity if it's keeping you from what you're really meant to do. So now I just need to focus, get clear on what it is I'm really meant to do, what I really want to do, and then make the goal. Take the step. Focus on that one step.
I like it. Great job. Heck yeah, right on, hoorah. Good session. Feeling good about this, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. It was real good.
It felt so good, I don't want it to stop, but it does need to stop at some point. A long video.
Yeah. Well, I'll try and post some of our handles at the bottom, but you can follow me at mickybi.me, which is my website, where you can kind of get a little bit of an update about what's going on, I guess. I'm still in the process of putting it together. Also, I don't really know my handles or anything, and I should probably put them together in a different way so they all make sense. So I'm gonna not make a fool of myself any more than I have.
You're amazing. It's a process.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. This is Micky Bi and JKiss.
JKiss, a.k.a. TruthSica. I don't know if that's what did you say? URLs, links? What are they?
Oh, well, yeah, we'll be on,
What did you call them?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Well, you can reach me or see what I'm doing at pickyourprocess.com. That's PICyourprocess.com. I'm just now finishing up the website, and soon there will be a blog going that explains what's happening with me and things I'm going through and ways to get through, as well as upcoming programs that I will have that help us, you, all of us together, get in connection with ourselves on a deeper level. So yeah, pickyourprocess.com, as well as TruthSica on Instagram, TruthSica on YouTube, and yeah, I think that's all I got right now going. TikTok, TruthSica, TikTok.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think my Twitter's Micky Bi89. I don't know. But I'm going to make a new one, I think. So, I'll keep them posted.
Stay tuned. There's good stuff coming.
We're pretty fun people.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
If you did like this, please comment below.
Yeah.
Say what you liked. What was your favorite part, maybe? Or say, I've been down, if you've ever felt down. And
yeah, and then
if this helped you at all.
Yeah, yeah, you can feel free to let us know, yeah, what it was. If you want to throw your email down there, or I don't know how you do
Your
it.
connections.
Yeah.
Comment your connections if you want to
Then
connect.
then we'll reach out to you, and like, yeah, if you think there's anything we can do to help out, we'd be happy to put forth any bit of like, knowledge or input
Takes
that
a
we
community.
can. And yeah,
A village.
takes a village. Yeah.
Let's build a village.
Yeah. Let's build a village. Like, what up? Like, things are crazy. I don't know. It seems like it's having a hard time. Yeah, trusting anyone out there. Let's connect and make some stuff happen. Like, each one teach one, build each other up. Like, we can do this together. We don't gotta be all separated and shit. There's enough people out there. 7 billion. I don't know if you can count to it like 100,000.
Let the sun
Or you'd even
come
like to.
online.
But it's a lot. There's a lot of people out there, and so we can get together and make a community of 500,000, and still that we wouldn't shake a stick at the 7 billion, but we'd have a strong community. Yeah.
We'd make a strong how?
Yeah.
What's the
Right.
Appellation? What is it? That girl group band.
Rising Appalachian.
Rising Appalachia.
Yeah.
What do they say? We may sound quiet on our own, but together we make a great how.
Oh
Right.
yeah. It's just, basically saying like one of us. Yeah, one of us alone is pretty quiet, but when we shout together, all together, we can make a great like howl or something.
We make a great big howl. Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's Rising Appalachian. Look it up. Highly recommended. Shout out to them. Yeah, I feel like we should have some tunes in the background or something.
Maybe that's how we'll leave it off with the song. Hey Google, what's the song called? Play Rising Appalachia. We make a great big howl. I don't think that's what it's called.
That's what it's called either.
Maybe she'll know.
Playing Rising Appalachia on Spotify.
It's the heat's there. Either way, we're gonna leave it on this.
Yeah, it's a
Let's
great
turn it up a
song.
little bit.
I'm resilient.
I am resilient.
This is it, isn't it?
I trust the movement. I negate the chaos.
It is.
Uplift the negative. I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to listen. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. 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 These times are poignant. The winds have shifted. It's all we can do to stay uplifted. Pipelines through backyards, wolves howling out front. Yeah, I got my crew, but truth is what I want. Realigned and on point, power to the peaceful, prayers to the waters, women at the center, all vessels open to give and receive. Let's see the system right down to its knees. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Whoa, whoa, oh, oh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
back to Black Rock.
Black Rock Matcha.
I've got my roots down,
The part's coming soon. It is the song.
down deep. So what are we doing here? What has been done?
If you're still not
What are you gonna do about it when the world comes undone? My voice feels tiny, and I'm sure so does yours. Put us all together, make a mighty I am resilient. I trust
One love, fam. Until next time.
Woo!
See you soon.
Uplift the negative.
Love you.
I'll show up at the table again and again and again. I'll close my mouth and learn to